Executive Officer of JSPL joins us from New Delhi. Ravi, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you back on ET Now. Your reaction to the 15% hike in rail freight. Are you concerned about this move? Because in a slowing economy, if transportation cost will go up, that will only lead to demand destruction.
Yes, we are obviously very concerned. I think the increase in freight rates is very untimely. On one hand, we have very slow demand from the steel sector, and the market economy, which could spur the growth of steel demand, has still not picked up. And at this time, if the freight rates are going to go up by 15%, I believe it's going to have very adverse impact on the total demand for steel. And not only for steel, but a lot of other products, which are being exported. For them also, it's going to have a negative impact.
Mr. Uppal, demand for steel did show signs of marginal improvement in early September. With the start of the dry season, what's your outlook now? And is a price hike then on the cards?
Well, you're quite right. In the month of September, the market was almost flat. There was some uptick in the first half of the month, but later on, once again, the demand was flat. We were hoping with the start of the dry season, the demand should look up, but at this time, the hike in freight rates is certainly not called for. As far as the increase in price is concerned, it depends on how the delivery is made. If you make the delivery X works, or you make the delivery up to the customer premises, somebody has to cover for the cost. So I think at this time, when the demand was not looking up, this increase in freight was absolutely not required.
So ultimately, who will bear the brunt of this fare hike? Are you in a position to pass it on completely to the customers?
Well, the policy in the steel industry has been that, we are not trying to increase the margins at this point of time. If at all we are increasing the prices of products, it's only to cover the additional cost burden which has come up. Firstly, it was because the dollar had risen dramatically against the rupee, which has caused the cost of imported materials to go up. And later the prices of the input materials like coking coal and also the iron ore had gone up. So I think there has been an increase in the cost of the steel products. And to that extent, I think the producers have no choice, but they have to consider the increase in price of the steel products.
So do you think better export realization will offset higher freight costs?
Well, the first half of September was good, as rupee had seriously depreciated against dollar. It touched as much as 67 to 68 rupees. But in the subsequent half of September, the rupee has strengthened against dollar. Now it's trading at 60 to 63 rupees. So therefore, the kind of competitiveness that we saw in the first half of September could not continue in the second half. So on the whole, I would say that the exports did well in the month of September. And let's see that if the rates of rupee against dollar stabilize between 62 to 63, how do we script our strategy going into the export market? That's something that we have to consider.
Maybe the other topic
against dollar now is trading at 60 to 63 rupees. So therefore, the kind of competitiveness that we saw in the first half of September could not continue in the second half. So on the whole, I would say that the exports did well in the month of September. And let's see that if the rates of rupee against dollar stabilize between 62 to 63, how do we script our strategy going into the export market? That's something that we have to consider.
Maybe the other talking point is the auction of coal block. What is your reaction on the coal block auctioning that could take place soon, as government is now planning to put about 17 blocks up for sale?
First of all, I think that the decision of government to go for auction of coal blocks to private companies is a very positive move. It's a step in the right direction. I think in India, all those CIL and the subsidiaries have done a very good job in increasing the production of coal. But I think the CIL alone cannot do this job of meeting the increasing demand of coal. Already this year, we're going to have a shortfall of nearly 100 million tons. And if we do not let the private players come into the mining sector, I think the gap between demand and supply is going to widen still further. And it's being estimated that by 2016-17, we may have a shortfall which is as serious as 200 million tons. So I think the participation of private sector players will definitely give a boost to the production of coal. And the government's decision to auction 6 blocks with an estimated reserve of 2 billion tons. I think it's a positive move. I believe the auction process will start sometime in January, and before that is done, I think government is also going to appoint some regulator to oversee that the complete auction process goes smoothly without any hiccups, and the regulator does their job to ensure that the private sector is also performing their due when it comes to discharging their obligations.
So what's your outlook then on merchant power rates for the next 6 months?
Well, the merchant rates have been very widely fluctuating. In the middle of September, the rates have started to look up, but then again they have started falling. I'm not able to discern any distinct trend when it comes to the merchant rates. But I think now with the busy season coming in, I think the demand for power should look up. I'm really hoping that the rates will also become steady and they will look up. And on the whole, that the next 2 quarters, that is Q3 and Q4, will bring some kind of sanity when it comes to the merchant rates.
What is the impact of rupee depreciation on the company?
Well, that as far as the exchange rate between dollar and rupee is concerned, it's a double-edged sword. If the rupee devalues against dollar, then the exports will get benefited. We become more competitive in the commodity market. But on the other hand, the cost of imported materials go up, and also the companies have got certain loans they have taken in foreign currency, and therefore it has an adverse impact if the rupee depreciates against dollar. So I think it's a balancing of that. I think it changes from player to player depending on what kind of a business mix they have and what kind of a debt structure they have taken. So it's very difficult to make one sweeping statement as to how the rupee movement against dollar will affect. But as far as exports are concerned, you're right. That it will definitely help if the rupee is devalued against the dollar.
News just out of Infosys in the meantime. It's gotten a 4-year contract from Toyota Motor in Europe, and India has started off the day in any case pretty well in trade. It's holding up smartly in the green. That's in field rate for you, up about almost 0.6%. But Mr. Uppal, coming back to you, are you disappointed that Stemcore asset sale may now take some more time due to the legal issues?
Well, I don't want to comment on Stemcore sale at this moment. I don't want to say I'm disappointed or I'm happy, because it's something which is in the process. As far as the overseas assets are concerned, we are always looking at them, and we have already acquired certain assets. Those assets are being put into production. I'm very happy that the production on those assets has gone exactly the way we wanted that. So that is precisely where we stand. Our production in Mozambique has commenced very well. And South Africa also, the total output from that mine is also quite steady at this point of time.
What about Gujarat NRE coking coal? Is JSP looking at increasing their stake further in that company?
Well, that so far we are not a majority stakeholder in this company. We had about 31.5%. We are in the process of increasing our stake in this company. And once we are in majority, then we will look at the company to see how well it can be restructured and how is it that we can get the best value out of these assets. JSPL themselves are a big consumer of coking coal. I think that our acquisition of this mine is absolutely justified. The NRE Gujarat mines are among the best coking coal mines in the world, and we think that can be a great asset to us if the business is run properly and operations are run on the sound lines.
Right, Ravi, really appreciate your time and thank you for joining us. Tata Communication, now that stock was up on Tuesday. It is up today. In fact, it is one of the biggest mid-cap gainer as well. Then you've got price action in Jet Airways. Havells is also looking okay, and Jubilant Foodworks is up by another 3%. Mitesh, do you think Tata Communication or ex-VSNL, that company has genuinely turned the corner?